Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity, and Love. Amazing guests from all over the world with incredible backgrounds, deep foundations. That means experience. And they aren't just sitting on it, they're helping others. Today, no exception, coming up to us from Arizona is Brit Elders, investigative journalist, filmmaker, documentaries galore, books galore, mostly nonfiction. She has traveled the world, covered a bunch of topics, but including UFOs, and especially in Mexico, and also a Pleiadian story. She's got a book that just came out. She's going to be telling us about that. I am just beyond excited to have her on. She's also CEO of Shirley MacLaine. A lot of people will know this actress. Two Mules for Sister Sarah with Clint Eastwood is one of my favorites that Shirley MacLaine has been in. But she's been in, 50, 100, 150 movies. Everyone knows her. Meanwhile, Britt, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you, Michael. I'm really having a great time already.
We spent some time beforehand and had some fun. I'm having to be serious now as a show host. Can you explain to us when your curiosity and your search for, we could call it the truth, or sharing amazing stuff with people, when did that kick into gear? How?
Well, long story short, my dad was really a missile engineer, worked with von Braun on the early missile systems. And when they were sending missiles up and they were turning around, coming right back down, the engineers were seeing things in the sky they couldn't describe. They were stationary, they were hovering, they were watching what our engineers were doing. Dad and his buddies would get together and they'd be sitting in the living room talking about these things, wondering what they were. Why didn't they move? Why could they disappear in an instant? So I had that in the back of my mind a lot. Never really paid that much attention to it. My mother was very intuitive, so I grew up with anything in the world is possible. And you just have to set your heart on it and you're fine. So I had this wonderful kind of weird dichotomy of a left brain and a right brain background. But in 1976, a friend of ours, Lieutenant Colonel Wendell C. Stevens, brought us some photographs. My husband and I took a look at them and shook our heads. We said, they're too good to be true. Perfect UFOs. Just what you think a UFO should look like. So we said, okay, why are we looking at this? And Wendell says, you have a company that can get behind an investigation into it. At that time, we had a company called Intercept. Intercept was an electronic countermeasure company. We worked for Fortune 500s and financial institutions around the world, keeping them protected from eavesdropping and wiretapping. So we had the investigative side to our understanding of what needed to be done, but we didn't want to risk the reputation that we had really worked hard for. So we passed. Well, Wendell went to Switzerland and he met with this man, Billy Meier. He came back and he says, no, you have to do this. You've got to do it. So we had a business situation in London and decided to pop from London over to Switzerland to meet Meier, to talk to him. We really expected to figure out it was all being hoaxed and how it was being done within 24 hours. That didn't happen. We were there 5 days. And it was remarkable. When we left, we had photographs, we had slides, 35 millimeter photographs and slides. We had 8 millimeter movie footage of the craft with known objects in the same scene. We had sounds of the craft, which were completely unique, and we had metal samples from the skin of the craft. Billy gave it to us and he said, take it back to the US, have it analyzed, let me know what you find. I mean, he was just so nonchalant about it. We came back and that started a 7-year investigation into really digging into science that hadn't even been developed at that point in time. Because in the 70s, we didn't have great phones that took remarkable images, whether they were moving or still. We didn't have to worry about lugging around a camera like an 8 millimeter motion picture camera. No, we have it right on our phone now. Didn't have it then. We didn't have personal computers, and we didn't have programs like Photoshop and things like that where you can create things. and there definitely wasn't any AI. So we knew Billy had none of this. And we bring this back to the States and we start delving into it and talking to the leading edge people in the fields of photogrammetric analysis, metallurgy, audio, and they're all shaking their heads. When they got in and really started analyzing the evidence, they said they could not duplicate it. They didn't know what it was. They weren't about to say it was a UFO. They didn't want to risk their reputation either. But they said, we don't know what it is. We can't duplicate it, and we can't explain how he did it. So it was life-changing, really, to get into that. Because once you're into a topic like this, like anything in the metaphysical spectrum, you're there forever because you just continue to grow and grow and grow. And your knowledge base grows and your questions do too. You want more and more information all the time.
And
that's the book.
Yes. And can you take us through your perspective on the galaxy, the universe, the cosmos, interdimensionality, whatever you want to call it? Is it okay to perhaps postulate that love is the fabric of the universe?
I think it absolutely is. I have no question about that. In fact, that's one of the big things that the Pleiadians told Billy Meier was that, number one, we have to realize we are not the only thinking beings in the universe. There's a lot of other civilizations out there that have things to share and to offer, but we have to be in a position to receive them. We can't do that until we've developed ourselves as humans, lost the tendencies, and you're going to love this, that they call auric stench. It's all of that negative energy we surround ourselves with. It's the energy of war and greed and wanting what the other person has and blaming someone else and not looking at the responsible factor in self. It's not really knowing yourself. And in turn, you don't know anyone else. So they really pushed this to Billy, that this is so important for us to find this harmony within, this balance. And that if we could do that, then we can move into space, but not until then. And the big thing they said with that is you have to understand creational love. It exists in all things. It is all things. So when we get to that point where we can actually love our enemy, actually our concept of an enemy, because when we're at the point, we won't have enemies. We'll be at a nice understanding space. But if we can get there, then we can go into space like we truly want to do.
Okay, now how has your universe shifted, your universal view, from when you were a kid to as you started to look, at the Billy Meier situation, to now? How would you say it's evolved, or has it always been pretty consistent? The universe is really big. Wow. What's your take? How can you share that with us?
I don't think it ends. I think it's sort of perpetual creation. And I think it depends on what's going on with each individual. And everybody will look at things differently, which is wonderful. It makes us unique. And it gives us an opportunity to really promote education if we listen to the other person. So that to me is key. But it's a perpetual question, answer, question, answer. It's the search. It's the understanding that what you know in your heart, in your spirit, is what is most important. It's not what's happening up here. It's what's happening here.
How would you describe what we're seeing on TV, social media, congressional testimony, whistleblowers, AARO, whether it's Corbell, there's different reporters. I mean, there's literally 200 figures out there doing a wonderful job of just playing their part on stage. If it's an act, a play, fascinating. But how would you describe it? And I'll take a stab. It's a lot of necessary sorting out, but more at a thinking analysis level, data, prove it. And I'm in Texas, so when I say high school football, it's like practically religion here. Friday night lights, all the rest. So you've got high school football, which is one of the most important sports on the planet. You've got college football. I'll liken it to that, but I'm going to save the NFL for love and above, for more direct experience, consciousness, allowing. something beyond this entire discussion, because I'm not seeing unconditional love. I'm seeing a little bit about mankind here and there, but it's more national security, fear-based. Can you
Exactly.
this entire cabal conundrum of how do we handle this topic? We're seeing a lot of action, a lot of smoke. Where's the fire? What do we need to remember about all this as people sort
You know, it's dropping. They're spoon feeding the general public right now. They're saying, oh, yeah, look what the Navy pilot saw. Listen to this individual who saw something, but be afraid of it. So it's here's a little piece, but I'm going to take it away from you. And the public is getting tired of that because they know what's out there. They know that there are so many remarkable things. The interesting aspect to all of this is really truly until you've had an experience yourself, there's always that little question there. Do they exist? Because we're in a physical realm. We're in a three-dimensional thump on it world. Now, if you can take that and just either experience something, look up every now and then and see something amazing in the sky, or realize that other people are sharing their stories and should be able to do so without judgment, then it'll be a whole different aspect of things. Right now, there's several groups that are trying to put together a repository, basically, of UFO stories, footage, experiences, everything that people have experienced from all around the world. It's happening everywhere. And if we can do that, I think we will break this little spoon feeding episode we're in right now.
Is this MUFON, Stephen Greer, and there was a third, but I'm blanking. Can you name?
There's a whole lot of them involved in it. I know Greer's involved with it. Yes, some in MUFON are involved with it. Some of the old Kufos members. There's several different groups because there's so many things going on in the world. It is really, truly remarkable. They're not all good, but then we aren't all good. They're learning, we're learning. So it's sort of as above, so below type of thing. But if we approach it from a heart-based level, really understanding what that core energy of love is about, you're never going to go wrong with that. You're not going to attract in any of the negative.
Okay, can you talk to us about your personal philosophy on life? Is positivity, abundance, love? Talk to us how you roll and how it's just kept you walking a little bit of a smoother path than what might have otherwise been.
My good friend Shirley tells me I'm the happiest person she knows, and it drives her crazy. No matter what it is, I know that it has a positive end. Even some of the most traumatic experiences in life bring light somewhere. I have kind of a philosophy that is, and it sounds hilarious, but it's not flow with the go, or it's not go with the flow, it's flow with the go, because the world is constantly moving. Just go with it, feel it, experience it, flow with it. And that to me is great. And the other thing that I absolutely have to live by, and this is my left brain side, I have got to learn something new every day. And in that, I've got to apply it to myself. What did I learn? And how can I better myself with it? So that's something I've done since I was a kid. And it's just so enormous to me to have that experience on a daily basis.
I've got the fastest yes/no question you've ever been asked in an interview. And you've done a lot of interviews and you've been a host on a lot of programs, period. And I expect to see you a lot more doing more in the future. Yes or no, did we check that box today for something new?
Oh, yeah, we did.
Okay, back to the topic of your choice. UFOs, mankind's development. Call it just awareness is on the horizon for mankind. You can call it a spiritual awakening or just more allowing. How do you describe this whole what's being offered to us as a society, a group of humans?
I think right now we're being offered a wonderful gift. If we will we're doing so great with technology. There's no question about that. It's ruling the world. And there's the rub. That's not the good thing. The good thing is if we learn how to balance the spiritual side of our lives, the connection with creation that we all have and exists within all, and the technology, then we can really begin to grow and develop, because we are in a three-dimensional world. And it is important that we exist within that realm because we've chosen it. But if you bring more of the core understanding of the universe, of that universal love, creational love forward, and really allow it to guide the technology, just think where we could be in a matter of months. Just think where we could be if we lost this. You have to be competitive, otherwise you don't have creativity. And I really believe that curiosity sparks creativity. But if we lost this warring aspect with each other and allowed ourselves to enjoy, this person said that, this person said that, what can we learn from it together? I think we would really move forward quickly. I don't feel like, as many people say today, the world is headed towards a disaster or an end, because I think everything has a purpose and it's about learning. And if that educational process can go on with everybody opening their eyes, opening their hearts, I think we can really have a great experience in a very short period of time.
I agree with that. Look, there are still pockets around the globe that are into control.
Yeah,
Certainly a rebirth for like desired censorship, whether it's online or elsewhere, and that's been very interesting. Can you give us a perspective at a history level? Is it more we're not learning from our past? I mean, we've done this in the past. We've really had a control of information. There's definitely a push, and is that just fear-based? How do you quickly address it and then move us past that topic?
I think it controls the public. And I think the only way that you can get past that fear-based aspect is to understand your history. Don't take down a statue because it meant something to someone else. Understand what it meant to that other person. As an author, do not change my words. You have no idea what I was feeling when I wrote them. You have no idea what I'm trying to convey as I share them with you. Let them be shared. Let the individual that consumes whatever it is, the statue, the book, whatever, let them experience it on their level, but let them be educated about it. And that's a big problem. If we just deem all of our background, all of our history as negative, we're never going to learn. If we just blanket it, we're covering it up and hiding it. But if we look into it, understand what the people of that time felt, wow, then we aren't so prone to repeat the same issues over and over again. And right now, I think a lot of the issues happening are because people are easily controlled through fear. So if you make them afraid of their past and their future, you've got them right where you want them. They're not going anywhere.
Let's talk about compassion. I mean, there's a trillion definitions of compassion. I feel like if we took 100 people and they were asking, let's say, angels or beings of light from around the cosmos for a definition of compassion, they could be there all day long and you'll never get two of the same answers. It just depends. Life is maybe about never-ending growth and expansion. With that, I'll ask you for a definition of compassion in a second, but I'm going to stall and read two definitions for you from angels. Abe, the Abraham of old, an angel who'll say he wasn't too nice as a human, gave this definition: compassion is not judging, taking action with no thought. And then there's a Mac, don't call her Mackenzie, everything about plants and animals. She gave this definition of compassion: it's treating every moment with the awareness of a newborn baby. What have you learned or come to appreciate about compassion now?
It's trying to understand everything around me, anything that comes into my life. If I can understand it better, I can understand myself better, but I can be more caring, more open, more receptive to whomever or whatever it is that's coming to me at that particular time. And I think that's so important. It's not saying, oh, I have to do this for this person or anything like that. To me, it's not. It's about feeling that person. It's about hearing that heart tone that goes between people and tapping into that energy. I think that's huge right now.
Now, if we flip that pancake, isn't that also your driving force, your raison d'etre behind your writing?
It is. It is.
Can you
So it's all
share
the
with
same
us?
thing.
Yeah, the artistic. I heard that when you said it. I was like, that's your artistic drive. Can you share with us, though, how that's played out in the past? And can you hint at something in the future that you wouldn't mind getting into, either on the film front, show front, or book front?
Oh boy. How has that played out in the past? It plays out every day. I met a young man that I felt I felt that physical aspect of compassion of, oh, I want to help you. And I thought, no, that's not what he needs, and that's not what I need. And he was sitting on a bench, and I sat down next to him and I talked to him. And I said, what's up? And I did it the normal way I do with a smile on my face. And he says, what's wrong with you? I said, nothing. I said, I just wanted to know how you were. I just felt something strange. He says, well, I'm not having a good day. He had just been fired. And I said, oh, why? Well, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. Oh. And so we talked it through. And he got to the point of saying, oh my gosh, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. That's why I got fired. Before, he was ready to put it off on somebody else, but he was willing to open up, tell me what he had done, explain the whole thing. And I felt, okay, that was what I needed to do today. I needed to learn from him, not to hide, not to, when you do something that you know isn't the right thing to be doing, don't ignore it. Don't blame it off on somebody else. Take responsibility and move forward. He actually went back to his boss. I gave him my number. He went back to his boss, told him he understood what he did wrong, and the boss rehired him. So that's, yeah.
Now, are you doing this professionally? Have you hung a shingle out so people can?
No, my sister tells me I have "talk to me" stamped on my forehead. But that's okay. I love it. I love people and I love the interaction. And, we're all here to help each other because I know there's a big thing now if you have to do all of your own inner work and everything. That's very true. But all of those people around us share that and open us up to doing the inner work for ourselves. And we just have this perpetual exchange. It's a proverbial snowball rolling downhill. It gets better and better every time.
Okay, now you're going to get asked a personal question here, which is just what can you share with us on your personal trajectory, your journey that has been very unique, special, out of this world, maybe, or just divine miracle, a moment that maybe you haven't shared on air before, something that you're still scratching your head on today? Was that an angel? Could you share with us that something that took place that, again, you're very thankful for? It blew you away. Maybe you still flash back to it. What can you tell us?
Yeah. Leah and I were on our way back from Ecuador, and we had spent a couple of weeks in the jungle with some Hebrew Indians that he worked with. And we were getting ready to get on the plane, and I got nauseous. I just had a horrible headache. I said, I'm not doing this, because we were flying out of a small little, basically bush airport into Cuenca. And I said, I'm not getting on the plane. And he says, why? I said, I don't know, but I know something is saying don't get on the plane. He said, okay. So we went, sat down and waited until the plane took off. And then we went and made reservations to catch another flight. The plane crashed 20 minutes after it took off. But I knew, and I could feel something holding me back, literally holding me at the shoulders and pulling me back. And I have not ever told anybody that story. The only one that knows is my son.
I'll blow some sage to switch gears here. I'm very thankful for that story. This is a staple on the show, and I'll do a little public service announcement at this point. If you haven't watched the show before, I blow sage. You get it through two screens. Totally impossible. It's 2028, and you're watching Brit do her show that she's been doing for years by now. But This is something that, even though it happened in 2024, there's not as much time and space as we think. We're more connected than we think. And that includes just regular old sage and a little crate and barrel tea light to protect whatever rainbow shell this is called. Bic lighter, I'm going to light it. If you're hypersensitive, you've already been a healer for 30 years, you might start tasting it on your mouth the second you see this. But if you're kind of not sure, then give yourself permission. Ask the universe to make it nice. What would you do before you get on the pitch, the soccer field to play soccer? Just ask for the universe, your angels, your guides, whatever you call it, your support crew, your cheerleaders, to get in here and make it nice. Red-tailed hawk feather, sage. I'm blowing it from Texas to Arizona. Everybody at home, you can put your hand out and feel the vibe on your hand if you want. Ask for flowers, though, if you're gung-ho. And ask for an ocean smell, a trifecta, if you're really off the charts enthusiastic. What are you getting, Brit?
I can smell it. I love the smell. And to me, because of the tradition of using it as a cleanse, it just feels so whole and complete.
Beautiful.
And it's interesting because you get all the other fragrances with it, the accompaniment.
What's a reminder for everybody? You've done a lot of living, a lot of sharing of joy. Your work reflects that, your passions. You've learned a few things, and obviously you do like to listen. You do like to help people. What would you try to tell people about how they could spend their energy more wisely? Like, I'll do it this way. If ego is kind of fear and a waste of time and energy, but we're still going to do it all day long, can't help it. Welcome to being
Right.
What's your reminder to us all, how to walk a smoother path?
Be happy with yourself. Know that you're doing the very best things for yourself that you can, because it just transfers to everything around you. And if you're not doing that, then look inside, figure out what it is you need to change. But for the most part, if I'm comfortable with who I am, truly who I am, I'm good. And I'm happy all day long.
Okay, now back to the UFO book that just, has come out, and that's I'm going to call it bulletproof. It's awesome, but could you describe why people should dive into that book? But then can you compare it to another one of your projects? So people are going to be interested in you, and they're going to want to see another work product, whether it be a film, a book, a show, something like that. Can you first talk about the current UFO book, but then can you steer us to something else?
Right. This book is amazing. It's 10 inches by 10 inches square. So it's kind of like a coffee table book, full of photographs, 4-color photographs, but not just photographs. It tells the story of Meier's encounters, what the Pleiadians talked to him about. It talks about the investigation, goes into the analysis, the beginnings of the analysis that we did. It's truly remarkable. It's 200 pages of information that just, when you finish it, you feel enlightened and you feel, wow, there's something I really need to look at here. So it's a good thing. I've had wonderful, wonderful discussions with people about it, and they're all receiving it very well.
Okay. Now we kind of ducked one. You can duck anything you want on the show, and I don't think
I don't duck
in one
anything.
sense. But what project could be on the horizon without blowing it from your perspective? Because you want it to be a surprise. Can you tiptoe around something that in the next 4 years we could possibly look forward to, if you can muster the energy, the courage, the whatever it takes to get this stuff done? Because it's hard. What could we be looking at from you down the road?
2 more personal books. I write for other people quite a bit, but this one book will be about the time we spent on this particular Pleiadian investigation and what went on behind the scenes. And the other book it will be a surprise, but it's called Starkeeper. It's already been named. So yeah, it's something I've been working on for a while. I've got another book coming out that is completely contradictory, not contradictory, just different than UFOs.
Okay.
That I co-wrote with Deanette Wells, who is she's an extreme adventure sports person, climbed the 7 summits, done all these ultra races, a marvelous lady. And her son died from extreme sports. He was in a wingsuiting accident. So the book tells of her journey and all the things she's done. It's remarkable. And how she used these sports to come through all the sadness that she was feeling. It's called Another Step Up the Mountain. It's truly wonderful. And then just released last month, I've got 3 books coming out back to back to back. Last month, we released A Happy Move, which is designed to help people figure out how to properly move so it's not so stressful. Because moving is considered one of the most stressful things a person can undergo. So a friend of mine, Deborah Jacobs, and I put that all together, and it's out there and doing very well. And we've got a documentary coming out called UFO Contact from the Pleiades, a documentary film that has even more information than the book. And it will be out the end. Well, it's out now when this goes out. Yes, so it's good.
We'll be talking about Pleiadians in just a second, but I'm going to mention I've moved 25 to 42 plus times, depending on how you count it. Mostly East Coast, and not everyone's counting of a move is a move. Depends.
Right.
Okay. This whole universe thing, cosmos, consciousness, awareness, interdimensionality. There's a lot of this flying around right now. If you're not really up to speed on any of this, you've been doing your day job, you're struggling with the relationships, you might have a health crisis, welcome to being human. What's a simple way to explain that there just might be more around us than our thinking? Can you do a little landscape or roadmap for us of the stars and locally here on Earth?
Maybe start looking at synchronicities in your life, believing that there is no coincidence, that everything has a purpose. And when you find that something happens and it's synchronous to something else, or it's a kind of the precursor to something else, oh my gosh, when you start seeing that, it starts popping up all over the place. And then things just start opening up to you.
Okay, I'm going to do some random quotes for you from either pretty famous authors or from angels. I'll do 2 or 3. You can react to all 3. You could react in your own way in a new direction, let it propel you, or just choose one. Okay, now Winnie the Pooh, constant philosopher, believe it or not. I think a great reminder for us all. Some people talk to animals, not many listen though. That's the problem. And I would add that's everyone's opportunity, by the way. Okay, next. I'm randomly picking these. Okay. Ego is getting lost in thoughts regarding tasks, goals, and perceived accomplishments. Archangel Michael said that in 2014. And last but not least, let's go to a popular quote. The only source of knowledge is experience. Einstein.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure I agree with that, but that's Einstein. I love Winnie the Pooh. We got to communicate. That's so, so important right now. We have to listen to communicate. And that's what we're not doing to each other or for each other. I like the second quote, makes sense, but it's very third dimensional in its reality. With Einstein, I think experience does give you wisdom, but I think other things can too. And maybe that's other people's experiences. Maybe it's just being, just feeling all the energy that's around you and letting that be. I think there's so many things we can take wisdom from.
Okay. Now, again, trying to help somebody who just came in out of the cold.
Yeah.
The universe is super big. You've got a really broad perspective. What's a reminder for someone that they can just, slow their roll, hold their horses, take a breath. And while the universe is really big, it's not the end of the world. There's nothing to react to. It's just slow down the doing. Can you give us a little pep talk on that front? How, while it might be big and it might be close encounters of the third kind, it's okay.
Yeah, it's all okay. Sometimes you just have to remind yourself of that. Everything has a positive end. You may not know what it is at the moment, but that's okay. Just have that knowledge. Sit with it. Don't judge it. Get out of the way of the judgment issue and let it unfold naturally. And the more you do that, the faster it unfolds. The faster that truth that you're searching for comes to you. So I think it's just kind of find a quiet place in yourself and know that it's going to have a good ending.
Love this. Okay, now I've been doing angels 12 to 13 years. I should probably be saying they're doing me, but that doesn't really have a definition to it. The bottom line is, in the last couple months, an angel named Dale was the first one to crack the ice on this whole new concept of angels, which I already knew they live within us, they're around us, all shapes, sizes, colors, purposes, unconditional love, not here to interfere. But if you do set your intent, you'll get all the help in the world.
Right.
He's got an Andromedan background. That's a lot to take in. On the other hand, other angels have been volunteering Sirius, Orion. It's a big, 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 what do we call it? Cosmos?
Yeah.
Can you talk to us again about how big it really is? And have you had some experiences you wouldn't want to share on camera, but that you're just absolutely like, yes, it's really big?
No, I don't hide much of anything. I'm kind of interesting that way. It's whatever's there is there. I've had sightings. I have not had an encounter that I'm aware of. I do have missing time. So those are my 1, 2, 3 things. As far as how big this universe is, I don't think it has an end. I think it goes forever and ever. I find it interesting that the angel coming in with the Andromeda energy, because according to the Pleiadians, we are governed by the Andromeda Council. So that's a lot of power coming in with that angel and just sort of overseeing everything going on. I love it.
And that angel said the following, and I'd love to get a reaction because I think you're living and breathing it. This is a quote from Dale, an angel who's Earth, and I just think it's totally endearing. Sometimes the person next to you or a stranger just needs validation via love and compassion. A smile changes any moment, so too does laughter or a few kind words. Be compassionate to all, do it. And I think right back to your bench story.
Yeah. I think that's so true. We all need it. I mean, I may be a generally happy, optimistic person, but there are days where you just go, oh man, really? Do I have to do this? You need that sort of little subtle hug from others just to let you know everything's okay. And everything really is okay.
Are you ready to take a step in a new direction? Most shows don't do this. I can put a photo of an angel up. You can just get a hug, feel the vibe, get flowers, smell an ocean,
Okay.
any which way. But you could also get a topic you forgot about, or they'll relay something if you want to play the classic listener. I think one of your big themes today has been just more listening, more allowing, a little less thinking. Goes a long way for all of mankind. Congratulations. I'll do the very first angel. She's joy,
Joy.
emotion, joy. And what can you share with us that you're either getting from her, you're feeling, or all the above?
It's really interesting with joy. I get joy, but I also get this feeling of just like a warm embrace of something very comfortable you've known for a long time.
Beautiful. And then Charlotte, who just recently said she's got a background from Orion, and she's one of my business managers. Tough taskmaster at the beginning 10, 12 years ago, or probably throughout my whole life. But a lot easier now. Hopefully I'm paying good attention nowadays.
Interesting. High energy, really high energy there. But I also feel like it's sort of I don't know why I'm saying this, a sprouting seed. It's ready to grow and blossom even bigger.
Okay. 2 more angels and maybe a Native American chief. This angel's light waves of energy and water, soft-spoken professor, actual silhouette of an angel, my guardian angel, but also other people's guardian angel. I just had a doctor who said, hey, that's my guardian angel. And another different person who was a guest on the show who said, hey, that's Mother Hawaii. She's got some Hawaiian spirituality. And last plug, she's light waves of energy and water. Min is like Minnesota, Lakota Sioux word for water. And finally, she said serious background. Now, I'm not trying to be serious or anything, but, way out there.
Serious A and B, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it kind of looks like some of the images coming in now from the Webb telescope. Yeah, it's to me, it's really wonderful. It has this feeling of, when you blow on a dandelion pod and the seeds go everywhere and they just carry all that beautiful dandelion energy. That's what it feels like.
Love it. Last angel, Dale, the one we talked about before, he's got a great sense of humor, very down to earth. I think that's actually coming through pretty well.
He looks like a UFO coming into our atmosphere. I've
Oh,
actually seen photographs of UFOs that look very much like that. Good energy. Yeah, powerful.
good. Okay. Okay to do three Native American chiefs, and we'll move on
Sure.
to kind of the final section of this. Okay. Dull Knife, Unconditional Love, Spirit Guide. Anyone at home, if you want to catch one of those sacred Native American scents, tobacco, sweetgrass, juniper, you get the idea. Allow for it. That's kind of
Mhm.
what the point of this whole exercise is. What will you allow for more in life? And you'd be surprised at how delighted you'll be down the
Yeah.
road.
He's so comforting.
Good. And then,
Wisdom.
oh, and Red Shirt, the gentlest mom in the world, always the best soft spoken advice. Whatever a person needs help with, he's there to just chat with you about it.
It's so wise. A lot of wisdom.
And I'll do Geronimo last but not least. I'm going to do an older photo of Geronimo. For folks at home, if you want to close your eyes, you can get a vision, you can hear an answer, ask a private question. If you just want comfort and want to do it one way, I think we're doing a lot of one weighing as it is. We're experts at one weighing with our energy. And what are you getting from Geronimo?
He's a prankster. He likes to play. And you see it in his eyes, even though those are very old and very tired eyes, he's still a prankster.
I love it. Okay, final few messages for folks. How easy could it be for anybody on their own path? They've got a unique life path. Is it sort of learning that it's not about up here first and discovering your own heart uh, to get going with real living?
Yes, it's about what happens inside of you. It's about what you want to call heart or spirit, whatever that real essence of self is. It's not so much about the physical. That's something we all exist in. But it's really knowing who you are and feeling that and connecting with it on a universal level, not just on, oh, this is me, look at me. It's not that at all. It's about connecting literally with everything that exists and feeling it here.
Okay, Britt, now without getting into too many details about your journey, the big journey, how connected have you gotten with your details, whether we're talking past lives or beyond? Without getting into the details, have you've paid attention to that and you're more
Absolutely.
okay,
Yeah. I
know who
think
you
it's true.
are in a
Yeah.
comfortable way?
Yes. If you don't know who you are, you're never comfortable within your own skin. So you really have to do that work. And sometimes the work is painful. You have to look at things that maybe you've done that you didn't quite feel right about, but you did anyway, and or words you've said that might have hurt somebody intentionally, or the intent is a big deal. You have to examine all of those things to turn them loose, to let them go. And when you let them go, then you're really connecting to yourself. But it is not about the ego side of you. It's about learning what you truly are, which is so much more than a physical body or even a spirit. It's all encompassing in everything.
And would you say, and this is meant to be as a compliment, but would you say you've spent a fair amount of time getting comfortable with yourself, getting to know yourself, that that is almost one of your primary pillars or strengths, your authenticity? I don't know if I like the word power, but that's your source. You've got a big heart. Is it fair to say that?
Yeah, it's absolutely fair to say it. It took a lot of work. It doesn't just happen overnight. And I think today we have a tendency to get too busy with life and we forget to do that inner work. But whether it's through meditation or prayer or discussions with angels or even contacts with extraterrestrials, there's so many things to open ourselves to ourselves. We need to take advantage of those, look at what we can do to be better people, and move forward with that.
Okay, very last question. Can you talk to us? We obviously know what thinking is. We're going to do it all day long. It's judging, it's fear, it's stress,
Exactly.
worry, yeah, rejecting, reacting, you name it. And big currency these days is knowing the type of knowing, though, that precludes possibility. So it's a little bit like the Casablanca movie scene, but not with Humphrey
Yeah.
Bogart at that exact moment. It's when the gendarme, the chief of police, walks into the casino and says, I'm shocked to see there's gambling going on here. And meanwhile, the waiter hands him his winnings. That we know about. Can you talk to us about how comfortable, what, like a little more faith, trust, religious, not religious faith, it's the same
Right.
thing. It's letting go to be here. Can you give us the final pep talk on how big this is, how we're all connected?
It's in your heart. It is totally heart energy. I know some call it heart math, which I love that whole course. It's so beautiful, but heart energy connects us together. You can label it whatever you want to call it. You could call it a chuckawalla. It wouldn't matter. It's the energy, and that's the important thing. And it's knowing what happens between you and another individual and how that energy passes back and forth and how it serves both of you. And so you end up serving the entire world just with knowing yourself and feeling that and moving forward with it. It's so important. I think it's the most important thing there is because it lets us take our really rightful place in where we belong in this world if we're working with that heart energy and we're recognizing we're not perfect, and that's okay too. We just need to improve on a daily basis.
Brilliant. Brit Elders, thank you very much for being on Angels, Positivity, and Love. I have been
Thank
thrilled today to
you.
meet you.
This has been a joy. Thank you so much, Michael.